Andrew, and today I want to talk a little bit more about PSVR 2. So, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hopefully, you hit that subscribe button. Hopefully, you hit that like button. It really helps out the channel, and I really appreciate it. So, let me talk about a little bit of PSVR 2, man. I watched multiple reviews before I bought mine, and I'm going to tell you right now, not one of those guys sold me on buying this PSVR 2. There seems to be a reluctance among other content creators and just the media in general to recommend this product. And I get that. I get that. I feel like I just feel like they're not I kind of feel like a lot of them are just like not really into VR, so it's hard for them to justify spending $550 for something like VR. But this here is my second. I mean, technically, I've been playing around with VR now for a few years. I bought the PSVR 1. I bought the MetaQuest 2, and now I've got the PSVR 2. Actually, if you look at this, it's sitting right on top of my PS5. It like sits there perfectly. It's almost like symmetrical how well it sits right on top of the PS5. Like it's perfect. It doesn't wiggle that much or anything. Like it just sits there. That's crazy. But I feel like they're just not into VR. So it's hard for them to find a reason to be like, yeah, I want to recommend this to you. And after watching those reviews, I literally felt like, oh man, this thing is just going to be another one of those gimmicks that PlayStation's going to put out there that's maybe a little bit better than PSVR 1. And oh man, I am so grateful that I decided to buy this thing, because I'm going to be honest with you right now. I was going to buy it. I literally bought it so that I could play Gran Turismo 7, so I could see if it was really as bad as they were making it feel like it was going to be. And I wanted to be able to get clicks for the channel to show you this product. I'm glad that I've had an awesome experience with this. Now the PS so let me give you a little bit of rundown about my PlayStation 5 experience if you haven't been with the channel for a while. But if you've been here for the whole time, man, you know that I have had issue after issue after issue with the PlayStation 5. It hit the ground, I bought it, and just nothing blew me away on the PlayStation 5 whatsoever. It felt like upgraded PlayStation 4 games. That's what it felt like to me across all these games. Demon Souls, I mean, it looked great, but it felt like an upgraded, old game. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, it just had fast loading and ray tracing. I mean, come on, man, that's really not super next gen. Like, yeah, it looked good, but at the end of the day, man, just nothing blew me away. And I had an Xbox One X before, so I'd already seen 4K. So I was just like, oh, where's the wow factor for all of these experiences? And I was starting to lose it a little bit, just not really that excited about PlayStation 5. Actually, I've spent about $1,000 on PlayStation brand since the beginning of this year. After buying, 643 for this, plus all the games that I bought for it. I bought Kayak, I bought Resident Evil Village, I bought Swordsman today, and also I well, yeah, obviously I got it with the Call of the Mountain thing, and then I bought the $200 DualSense Edge, which is phenomenal. I love that controller. I finally believe in like haptic feedback and in the adaptive triggers on that one. So yeah, man, I'm into PlayStation about $1,000 now, and this is the first product in the PlayStation 5 that I was actually blown away. Like, I was blown away when I started playing Gran Turismo 7 in here. I was like, wow, that is freaking incredible. I have the MetaQuest 2 with the link cable hooked up to my 3080 PC, so I can play all of those racing games with that. And to this day, the GT7 experience on PSVR 2, it just is better than everything else that I've been playing. The other ones are good, man. Assetto Corsa Competizione, Automobilista 2, and Dirt Rally 2.0. Phenomenal experiences. Phenomenal experiences. But I feel like that attention to detail that Gran Turismo has brought to the table with GT7 it's great. Like it runs really good with the hardware that you've got it hooked up to, man. Like I really had low expectations. Maybe that's it. Maybe I had low expectations for PSVR 2. But when you get in there and you look at image quality compared to MetaQuest 2 running on the PC versus the PSVR 2, they're quite similar. They're quite similar. In fact, the foveated rendering in the PSVR 2 actually kind of adds to that immersion just a little bit more. Like when you're inside the cars, everything inside the cars to me looks 4K, like native 4K. Everything out past that looks about 1440p, which is pretty close to what um I would say the MetaQuest 2 games, they also do they also look a lot. I mean, they do look a lot sharper out in the distance, a little bit more like in the dashboard and everything else. They do look like they're more consistent sharp, and there are some better levels of detail in those games, you know, like road texture surfaces. um Shadowing just looks kind of off. But when you get into a game like Project Cars 3 and you're looking at that, you're like, oh man, oh man, like it doesn't always, like they don't always look their best. Like some of them look pretty cut down, but the way that Gran Turismo 7 was built from the ground up um to utilize that visual preset that's already in the game on a 2D screen, but just kind of pared back just a little bit, it still gives you that. It's probably the closest one that like you can literally go from watching it on a 2D screen to jumping right into it and feeling like it's the same game. Assetto Corsa Competizione, playing that on a 2D screen, it looks incredible on the PC. Like it looks incredible. Very, very nice. Lots of detail, great looking trees, everything, trackside detail, everything looks great. But you get into VR and it's a different look. It's just like boom, it's a different look. The same with Automobilista 2. Automobilista 2 looks pretty dang good both ways, but all of these games, they kind of take on that they kind of take on more of a VR, like the way the VR I don't know. It's kind of weird. Some of the stuff looks a little bit plastic and everything like that. So they kind of lose a little bit of that visual fidelity, but it's still an overall good experience. For the PlayStation 5 to be able to deliver that and then give you that foveated rendering that makes it so so everything you're looking at is sharp and it looks pretty good. Now, I'm not going to say the PSVR 2 doesn't look blurry in certain instances, because it does. Like all VR looks blurry in certain instances. Doesn't matter what you're playing. I could be playing Half-Life Alyx on my 3080 with the MetaQuest 2, and there's times it will look blurry like out in the distance. Like it's just inherent to VR because there's not as much of a I there's not as much of like a draw distance as you would get in like a normal 2D game. Whereas Call of the Mountain draw distance is pretty good, man. That's pretty good. Like it's pretty convincing. I was like, wow. And I want to talk about that one for a minute, because when I put on that headset and I played Call of the Mountain, I was blown away. That was the highest quality VR experience I've ever seen. It outdoes everything. And I'm like, wow, this looks very, very good in the headset. And I'm not just talking about like cutscene parts. I'm talking about like the full game. Everything I've seen looks good. It looks incredible. You do get some of that VR, kindness, but man, for the level of fidelity and the level, I mean, man, Firesprite did a very good job on that game. I'm like, whoa, man, I'm so blown away by that game. It's not even funny. Like this is the first VR experience that I've had that's blown me away, like literally blown me away. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So when I watched other reviewers, and they just felt reluctant to really be like, yeah, man, definitely buy this. I was like, and then after my own experience with it, I kind of feel like, yeah, I mean, VR is not going to be for everybody. It's not going to be for everybody, but there are experiences in VR that everybody can play. Now, whether you're willing to fork out that money to have that window into this new, I'm going to call VR a new genre of gaming, as opposed to just some niche thing, because there are games in VR that everybody can play and everybody will play and everybody would want to play. But if you're a traditional gamer like myself and you like that 2D experience, those single player games, all of that, um, this is kind of an added bonus, to be completely honest with you, to be able to jump in there and play VR. Now, I get it. There's a lot of misconception about what it is about VR. Like, I don't necessarily think that you have to play VR every single day for it to be worth that purchase. I feel like because I go in spurts. Like, I'll sit down and I'll do a lot of sim racing. And then I'll want to play, like another game will come out and I want to spend a whole bunch of time playing like Hogwarts Legacy or Forspoken or Elden Ring or something like that. And that's fine. Yeah, you can set your VR down and play those games. It doesn't mean that just because it's sitting there and you're not playing it, that it's not useful to you. Because when something comes out, there's going to be something else to play on it. You're going to have that ready and able so that you can enjoy that experience. VR is another medium to which you can enjoy video game entertainment. And then there's other things. You can use your VR headset. And this is one of the big things that I really appreciate about the PlayStation VR 2. The fact that it has that the screen that you can play inside your headset, that you can play 2D games on. The fact that it has that, and it's OLED. It does HDR. It's 1080p, and you can set the size to whatever you want, as well as still be able to utilize the 120 hertz display to get that 40 FPS quality mode, which is downsampled, and it looks a lot better on that 1080p screen, which is pretty cool, man, because there's a lot of games that are going to be coming out, and if they're 1080p, you can simply get in your headset and play that. And it is pretty comfortable. You could sit there for, I think you could sit there for a few hours and be okay. And like, if you think about it, for most of us gamers that would be able to go out and buy this thing, we're older people. We've been working for a long time. We've got, that extra disposable income. And I feel like it's a nice option to have. Like, it's a nice option to have that really does kind of, add to the that adds to the value of the PSVR 2. Like, it really does. I sat in there the other day and I played a bunch of games on there. I actually spent a couple more hours just running around playing Forspoken in there, and I was like, wow, this is incredible, because I've been playing on a 1440p monitor a lot lately as well, and the fact that I can make that screen like the size of my 55 inch or even bigger, like it's like a 270 inch flat screen panel that you can do. I like having it about the size of my OLED right there, because then I can kind of see everything, and it feels like I'm just playing like an OLED with inky black borders around the whole thing. Like, it's like you're sitting in a pitch black room with an OLED with great HDR support. It's like, wow, this is actually pretty good. And the screen door effect is so minimal. Like, you barely notice anything like that while you're on that display inside the helmet. It's pretty cool. Like, it is really cool, and it looks pretty nice. There's other there's other benefits to being able to have the headset as well. But those are things that you're going to find out for yourself, and those are things that you're going to notice as you buy it. But yeah, like, being able to buy a PSVR 2 and then find something that's going to keep you interested, that's going to keep you coming back. Sometimes it's going to be sometimes it might be a little bit hard, but two games that I know I would 100% keep playing on VR are Beat Saber and Gran Turismo 7. Those are games that I would play multiple times, like all the time. Like, I can get in there and play them, whenever. I just get in there, and then next thing you know, I find myself like, oh man. But there's another aspect of VR that a lot of people don't understand, because these games are a lot more active. So you're going to be like moving and swinging your arms, just like a 20 minutes of freaking of swordsmen. And I was like, wow, man, like, I was starting to get like a little winded, because you're, like, if you're out there boxing, or sparring or something, you you're going to start getting tired. Your heart rate's going to go up. You're going to be like, whoa, man, this is a little bit tough. So you're going to sit back and take a break. So VR sessions are designed to kind of be, to, they're designed so that you're going to exert some energy while playing them. So you're at the end of the day, short sessions are kind of cool, and I think that's the reason why a lot of these things, the batteries, with especially with these VR Sense controllers, man, like a short session in there is like, oh man, it's not so bad. Like I I need you to understand, it's not your traditional type of experience. Like Gran Turismo, sitting there with the controller, man, I could play that for forever. Sitting there with a racing wheel, man, I can sit in there for hours, like literal freaking hours. But a game like Call of the Mountain, or the Swordsman, or the kayak game, or any of those things where it's going to require you to do a lot of arm movement, or just moving in general, those are the type of experiences that are going to that are going to be like shorter play sessions. You get in there for about 15, 20, 30 minutes. You'll play a few sessions of that, and then you're like, oh boy, I need to take a rest. And that's not a bad thing, man. Especially if you're somebody that, like me, like I go to work, I come home, and I sit a lot now. VR for me, like, gets me active. It's like playing Beat Saber, man. I went in there and I was playing Beat Saber the other day on the MetaQuest, because it's not out on PSVR 2 yet. As soon as it comes out to PSVR 2, oh boy, we're gonna have some fun. But sitting in there playing, some MetaQuest, with Beat Saber, I'm sitting there, man. By the time I'm done with like trying to get through this one song, learning this new song, Blinding Lights by The Weeknd, I'm trying to learn this song, and man, I was so freaking beat down. I was like, man, this sucks, man. And I only was in there for like 30 minutes or so. And like, you come out and your arms are tired, and you're just feeling like, ooh. So you're getting that workout that, and it's keeping your mind engaged. So you keep doing it. VR is pretty cool. But you're going to have to find you're going to have to find that game that you can continuously play, that will keep bringing you back into VR, so that you can enjoy that experience. And sometimes it's hard, and yes, there's a lot of garbage out there too. There really is. There's a lot of garbage out there in the VR space. A lot of people just putting something together and stick it. It's not garbage. It's just there's a lot of stuff out there that sounds cool, but it doesn't really turn out to be cool. So the Swordsman game doesn't really look that great, but it does. But like, it's kind of cool, man. Like, I was getting pretty good, like double swording. It was like ting ting. And then it was kind of cool. But the recording it on the social screen, that just looked trash. So I didn't post any video. I'm not going to post any video of that. It's pretty brutal too, like arms and limbs and stuff. So I'm pretty sure it'd get demonetized, or, not even go that far on YouTube. So it's an interesting game, but it doesn't look that great at all, which is surprising, because I would think they would want to make that game look better. There's no HDR support or anything like that, and that's a big one. That's going to be a big one for me going forward this generation, is the HDR support in the VR, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You're going to want to see it some more, and that's a big thing, man. I don't really know of any other headsets that are pumping out VR, or that I've experienced, that are giving you HDR in VR. So that is a big bonus for me. So if you guys like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. And thank you for watching. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe button.